Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. This presentation is going to be about how we've modernized from our old 9.4 on-prem environment and moved into the SaaS Viya hosted cloud services environment. Now, it's not going to be all or only, I'd say, about migration. It's going to be about how we've modernized our work processes. It's going to be about how we've put up a whole new platform. It's going to be how we've migrated, quite a huge job. And it's going to be about how we've brought all our employees along on this journey. So my name is Bendik, and with me today, Torstein, who's presenting. If you, after this session, if you kind of feel that I would like to hear more about it, we're going to have a session at 2 o'clock as well. So with that being said, I'll leave to Torstein to talk a little bit about one of the really huge milestones of this project. So go ahead, Torstein.
Yep, well, thank you. So imagine you're sitting in a room, you've been working a lot with this project, modernizing your SaaS 9.4 solution into Viya. And everyone's gathered up. We're on Teams. So this is a screen grab, and we ask, are we ready? Are we okay? Is everything done? Are we missing anything? And then hit the button and delete your production system live on Teams. That is a big milestone for us. It's deleting tens of years of legacies, hundreds of terabytes of data, code, everything, no way back. So this was a great milestone for us, but there's a lot of work up until that moment. But it was just a great way to really mark the shift from old to new. Bendik, now we've finished with the results. Maybe you can give some context into who Posten Bring is.
I'll do that. Thank you, Torstein. A little bit about Posten Bring and who we are. We're a Nordic postal and logistics company, founded all the way back in 1647. So quite a history there. We have translated some $2.5 billion in revenue. You know, that is a quite small company in the US context, but in the Nordic context, it's a quite big company. So we're one of the larger players in the Nordic postal and logistics market. Over the last 2-3 decades, I'd say, our business has changed when digitalization has kind of diminished our mail volumes. We've grown into the logistics business, and we've grown into a Nordic position from primarily in the past purely Norwegian position. So this is kind of our change journey during the last couple of decades. Nowadays we have some 12,000 employees divided throughout the Nordic countries. Now imagine, you know, almost 400 years of history. You might say to be able to have 400 years of history, adaptability lies within our DNA. We have to change to cope with the changing environment, and we have done so. In many ways, the biggest changes has taken place over the last, I'd say, 2-3 decades, when digitalization hit our main core business, used to be core business, which was mail business. So we've seen some 80% drop in the mail volumes. We've seen number of employees decreasing from some 32,000 at peak and down to 12,000. We've seen massive changes in our production setup, needed changes, because nobody needs a sorting terminal for mail anymore. But at the same time, we've also grown in the logistics business, and we've streamlined our production with the help of IT, and also, I mean, all the way from pickup to production, to line haul, to delivery. We've changed the way we perform that by utilizing IT and also analytics. So data, in many ways, you can say that the data is an integral part of how we do business in Posten. It's at the core of our strategic objective to become more data-driven and to utilize data to drive business improvements and production efficiency in our company. We began our SaaS journey all the way back in 1999 with SAS 8 and mainframe, and during since that time and all those years, we've been modernizing with SAS up until now, with the latest modernization going from our 9.4 to SAS Viya, which was from a huge shift for us. Now, in many ways, you could say that 9.4 got us there, but it couldn't take us further. So we needed to modernize. We were struggling with our platform, with limited capacity, with not good enough tools to support our business needs and business users who are data hungry and want even better tools. Our old platform did not have streaming or real-time capabilities. It didn't have good API interfaces, so we needed a change. And we did an evaluation. How should we do this change? How should we modernize and come onto a modern data platform? Our evaluation was that the fastest and kind of also not cheap, but the least expensive way was to modernize with SAS and migrate to the SAS Viya platform. So that was what we chose to do to gain all the advantages that a modern platform gives, with streaming of data, integrated analytics, a fast and modern database, and you know, scalability. So kind of the only thing that I was lacking here was who should I put to lead this project of ours? And then I took a look at this fellow over there, Torstein, and said, could you perhaps do this, Torstein?
Yeah, so this was about the time when Bendik came over to my desk and tapped my shoulder, and I have a little project for you. You might be interested in migrating 20 years of legacy, thousands of ETL jobs that are all spread around on multiple BI solutions, interdependency all across, serving business critical functions. We have to move tens of terabytes of data from on-prem to cloud, and that's just the technical stuff, because we also need to change the way we work in order to adapt to this new technology and really reap the benefits of it. And how can we not measure our success if it's not to measure success in customers, or actually the data warehouse customers, our users? Those are the ones that we are there to satisfy. So that's a pretty easy job in my head. Well, I might have considered different career options at that point, but I said, let's do it. And to do it, we set up, we had to start really structured. And we set up 4 main work streams within the project. One focusing on data platforms and integrations, another one focusing on migration and the modernization, and a third one on the new ways working, and the fourth one on upskilling and onboarding users. Because it's really important to consider in such a journey that the soft stuff, the new ways of working and upskilling is really essential to succeed, to have success. So I just wanted to talk very shortly. We'll go into this in more detail in our next session. But I mean, we went for SAS Viya with Speedy Store, and setting that up, we had no idea. This was something new to us, so we had to upskill ourselves first. that was a challenge, and getting everything right. On migration, we'll cover this more in detail, but this is where we probably had some of our biggest challenges, but also where we saw kind of the true partnership with SaaS come into fruition. I think this project was a good example of referencing the talk Ryan had with Jim Goodnight early on, setting the customer on the top of your organizational chart. Because we had some real serious problems in the start, but together with SaaS we were able to solve them, develop the software to support our business case and our needs in a very good way. Third one, new ways of working. We really invested heavily in this one, changing our all the processes within the data warehouse, deployment processes, fully Git enabled, and onboarding and upskilling, really investing and making the users take responsibility themselves to actually upskill. This has been a really important part of it. So results, you saw the results at the start, but some more metrics. So when we moved everything from 9.4 to Viya, we saw a good performance increase on the legacy ETL workloads. So, I mean, twice. Well, it probably could be way better. We didn't invest a lot of time and effort in optimizing our legacy workloads. We had to finish. We had to finish the project. So, I'm sure you could gain more performance and more speed if you really invested in it. But we were very satisfied with finishing our workloads way before the baseline in 9.4. We also moved hundreds of SaaS Enterprise Guide projects. Users did that themselves, but there we saw way bigger improvements just because they have more time to optimize. On new ways of working, so far in 2026, we've had 1,100 commits to our prod repo. That's a lot of changes. And it's a totally different way from early on where you could just implement your changes directly in production. Now it's full version control, everything flows, we have full DevOps. And we have onboarded 1,400 users, which is, I mean, that's around 10% or more than 10% of the company are now actively using SaaS Viya for analytics and reporting. Just very quickly, some of our key learnings, a retrospective on this. So data migration, we moved from Speedy Server to Speedy Store. That comes with a whole lot of challenges. One thing is moving data from on-prem to cloud. That's challenging in itself. But dealing with all these various formats, changing your collation settings and characters, it's a really, really hard thing to do. We did it. And also, if I were going to do something else differently, I would start even early on than we did with integrating with our sources, because that's kind of key to moving your ETL workloads. It's so much networking, firewalls. I mean, you know probably yourselves that it can take ages to get through all that paper mill. So that's really learning from us. We worked a lot with de-scoping. We said, if you don't have an owner of an workload or a solution, we won't touch it. We need something to own it, someone to own it. And we also explained to business that this isn't for free. This costs money, both doing the migration, but also maintaining and having operations on it in perpetuity. So showing to business that this is not free, it's a cost, makes them hopefully think a bit more. We were able to reduce the scope with 35% through this way. We onboarded users really early. They complained, they were not happy, but they gave us valuable feedback so that we could correct our course as we kept on migrating and setting up the platform. And don't give up, because this is not a smooth sailing. It's not a smooth ride. You will hit some very hard barriers on your way. We'll cover that a bit more later, but then if you get some from, I mean, having a SaaS executive team on speed dial when things go bad, that's also a good way to deal with it. So yeah, that was the presentation from us today.
Yeah, that's me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Posten Bring. Not only for migrating, but for being a partner and for telling your story so authentically. Because, and it matters, this really matters because it helps everyone here move forward with more confidence. If you're thinking about your migration and I want you to know a couple of things. Number one, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to guess, and you don't have to do it alone. SaaS has tools and applications specifically designed to help you with migration planning. And when you're ready to make that move to Viya, these same capabilities can be used to get you there. All right, if you'd like to talk more about your migration, please come join us at the Move to Viya booth. We're in the back across from Theater 4. At 2 o'clock, Posten is back. They're going to do a deep dive into their modernization journey. And if you attend, you're probably going to pick up a best practice or two and hear all about their lessons learned. So don't miss that. All right, thank you, Posten Bring, for leading the way. And thank you all for being part of the conversation. And I'd just like to remind you, migration isn't just about moving systems. It's about moving forward. It's about keeping what matters, empowering that with what's next, like AI and Speedy Store on Viya. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bendik, Torsten, and Christiana, Posten Bring. That was an amazing journey. I hope you guys all really enjoyed that. I like the last message, which is don't give up. And it's indicative of a company that's been around for 400 years, right? So I don't know any company that's been around that long. We're celebrating 50, and congratulations on, what is it, 387 years. So thank you guys very much. We'll start back up at 2:50 p.m., and we're going to be talking about digital twins. So if you're interested in that, come back and see us then. But thank you guys very much. Excellent.